Welcome. You're listening to the podcast of Willow Creek Church in Winter Springs, Florida. But you know what was nice over the weekend? The humidity was only 80% instead of 100? And I think that's called false fall. I just saw someone put on there, it's fall in Florida. Do you know what that means? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It is still 90 degrees outside.
Have you seen the
but
picture?
It was nice.
Have you seen the picture that the photographer took of some
Yes, I know.
park in Florida?
Yeah.
Of the Four Seasons.
Or the Four Seasons. It's all the same. It's so true. It is so true. This is one of the times where I miss my mountains and the fall colors, and it's just a beautiful part of God's creation. But winter is coming. And Florida is a beautiful part of God's creation. And we're picking it right back up where we left off. In the real world, that was about 3 minutes. That was just in that little edit right there that had a bit of a mechanical issue, but we're back. Hey, welcome, Willow Creek Church. To our tens of listeners, welcome back to the podcast.
Willow Creek Church podcast. We are back. This is Pastor Greg. I'm Pastor Drew. And it's just us today. We're kind of doing a fall freestyle as the leaves are not turning. We've already joked about. We are looking ahead just to the fall. And I told Pastor Greg and producer Ryan here that, it's just time to kind of dump some thoughts. We are recording mid-September 2025. If you're aware of that date in history, there's a lot that's going on in our nation, and that's not really the purpose of our time today. We may touch on things, but really just to kind of give a snapshot and an update on where we're at as a church and highlighting some things that are going on. One of the reasons I wanted to get together is we haven't talked, Greg, in this platform since the start of our new sermon series.
We have not. No, we finished up Exodus, and it was a great series. We exited out of Exodus. It was a great series. Not saying that it wasn't great because of who was preaching it. It was just a great series, and we've moved into this idea of being transformed, and it's been kind of eye-opening for me just to really kind of drill down into Romans 12 this week, into Romans 13. That's a tough passage, in particular as 21st century Western Americans. We see anyway. We'll get into that on Sunday. But just love the idea of how the gospel transforms and the gospel touches everything. That it's not just I'm gonna get out of place of eternal damnation and now I can just go do whatever I want. Here I'm being transformed in the here and now, more and more into the image of Jesus, and it goes to how I see myself, how I see others, how I see the world, and how Paul is describing this, and just been, just hopefully it's been helpful and encouraging to the folks so far.
Well, you were very strategic in selecting us beginning in Romans 12. That the fact is, I want to say maybe a year into your time serving as senior minister here, you preached through kind of not all of Romans 1 to 11, but a good portion.
No, actually, I went back and looked because I was trying to remember, what if I actually preached on here? Because I usually go back to the same thing I already did. And so I finally wrote down a list, but I did a series just called What is the Gospel that looked at a couple of different verses, and it was like 4 or 5 weeks. And so I think all I've done is 2 sermons out of Romans. It might have felt like more, and I might have actually, but that's as far as I know. That's as far as I know. Not to we're going to fight right here on the podcast. Let's go. That's how we're going to get 20s of listeners. Well, yes.
I think the impact really is knowing. I mean, Romans for our listeners is worth your time.
Oh, absolutely.
Intensive study, but 1 through 11, really, Paul is fleshing out what is the gospel?
Mm-hmm.
Who is man? Romans 1 talking about that we are sinners. That in fact many reject God, even though God has made Himself very evident and clear and revealed Himself. And from there, kind of unpacking whether we're Jewish or a Gentile. In Romans 3 and Romans 6 talk about all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. The wages of our sin is death and separation from God, and so it's only through Christ that we're justified. And I love what we're doing, because that Romans 1-11 in one form or fashion is something that's just quintessential to our mission, our ethos, what gets communicated regularly over and over. It's not your works, it's not your skin color, it's not your status, it's not your right stand. We don't make ourselves lovable
Mm-hmm.
to God, but
Yeah.
rather it's the grace of God calling us to Himself, and us then being transformed by Jesus. And so
Yeah.
we really want to
Yeah.
hone in on kind of like what does transformation look like
Right.
for the believer
Yeah.
as we engage.
Yeah, it's good. I've tried to say, I was trying to say that this Sunday, that we are transformed not to earn God's love,
Right.
but because we are. And I can't reiterate that enough, because I think our default mode that we so quickly fall back into is one of the reasons we need the gospel every moment of every day, is because we fall back into that. Well, I did this, God must love me. And then when something, when X doesn't happen correctly, we're like, well, I thought I did that right. I didn't pass the test. Well, I was praying. So why doesn't God? And that's, I feel like, for probably all of us. I know for me, I can't assume on anybody else, but for me, like that's often my default mode. And pastors deal with that too. We're not immune to it. So, Drew, we're doing Transform on Sunday morning, but I know that's not all that we have going on in the life of the church. We've got Wednesday at Willow. We're talking at our staff meeting this morning. Like tomorrow will be the halfway point of our fall Wednesday at Willow. What's happening with Wednesday at Willow? How's it been going? And is it too late? Like if you're tuning in on Wednesday afternoon while you're out trimming the hedges around the house, one, you missed a spot right over there on the left. But two, is it too late for them to just come and join for any of those offerings?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the purpose of Wednesdays at Willow, which is our midweek gathering on Wednesdays, 6 to 6:30 is pizza fellowship and just kind of catching up with folks from the church for the week. 6:30 to 8 are the different offerings for all ages, children, youth, and adults. But really the purpose is to gather and go deeper into God's Word, and go deeper relationally with others from the church in kind of a smaller group setting. It's been fantastic. I know you're going to share a little testimony that you experienced firsthand during a night at Wednesday Willow. I'll share one as well, but I love the variety of offerings that we have specifically for adults. It is not too late to jump in. These 6-week offerings are really designed to kind of be standalones. So you're going to glean things regardless of kind of when you enter in. Our children and nursery and student ministry are designed to just for kids and children and students to just come in and be fed spiritually. But we have some phenomenal facilitators. The three that I'll highlight real quickly, and you want to speak more to this, was we have a ministry or a study offering in Spanish led by Nelson Rivera. Nelson is AJ, our student director's father. Nelson is seminary trained. He was a minister in Puerto Rico for a number of years, and he is teaching how to interpret the Bible, how to read and properly in context understand the Bible in Spanish. And I know Nelson, I've had many conversations over the years. That is something, particularly in kind of the Latin America, Hispanic culture, where there's such a need, a desire to not merely communicate truths about God's Word and kind of picking and choosing verses, to speak to who God is, but to, in proper context, really give people just clear understanding of what does the Bible say, and what is the good news of the gospel. And so he's leading that class in Spanish, and we've got members of Willow Creek as well as those from the community involved there. Another offering that again is open to anyone is called Life Explored, led by our new intern Abdu Hana. Abdu's a student at RTS. Abdu very much has a heart for missions, has a heart to answer very practical questions that believers and non-believers alike would ask. And that class is designed to be very conversive by nature, and sort of simple and clear. What is the gospel and how does it apply to my life? And then the third offering, we had a fantastic marriage seminar early 2025, kind of building upon that. A group of members from Willow Creek really want to help resource our married couples at Willow Creek. So if you're like, hey, I need a tune-up in my marriage, or I need something to talk about with my spouse, come out. We've got a class called The Art of Marriage, led by counselors and church members Jeff and Heather Vaughn, and they're very practical, just kind of discussing what does it look like to love your spouse in marriage. And it's not huge. There's maybe 10 couples that participate. There's room for you, and it's a great place to jump into further, deeper conversation. So that's a snapshot overview. There's other things I missed.
Yeah.
Pastor
No,
Greg,
I was up here on the first the first Wednesday, where we had Wednesday at Willow, and I was hanging out with the elementary school kids for a second over in the gym, and then was walking down the classroom hallway here, and I heard Nelson in the one room just go into town in Spanish. Abdu next door. Abdu's from Egypt originally, and just the two kind of the language, the accent, I'm like that's a picture of a small little slice of one day someday people from every tribe and tongue and nation, and we've got Puerto Ricans and Americans and Egyptian, and like it's a beautiful picture not only of our community but of the community of the Bible, of what of heaven will be like. And I was just encouraged by that, and we're just thankful for all of those that come and call Willow Creek home, regardless of what their first language is or where they're born, whether they're born in Florida or somewhere else in the United States or somewhere else in the world. We're just delighted to have everyone here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes, hear this, and we would love to see you the next few Wednesday nights here at Willow Creek. One thing to tie it back into Romans, verse 2, which has the word transform in it. I'll read it quickly. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind." And so one of the goals of Wednesdays at Willow, and our small groups, our Sunday sermons and worship gathering, as well as even maybe a final talking point talking about connection, would be that we live, Pastor Greg, in such a time where we're constantly there. I literally describe it as like I am being sucked in, like metaphorically and sometimes feeling literally, like sucked into being conformed to whatever the cultural issue of the day is, whatever I see on the news or my social media feed. I'm being pulled in a particular direction, and so having just the ability to sit, like right now, I'm on Wednesdays at Willow. I'm meeting with about 15 adults from Willow Creek, and we're kind of going through just what is some core tenets of the Bible, talking really from creation. Genesis chapter 1 and 2 is where we've spent a couple hours now, and just really recognizing that, like, ultimately God has called us to be transformed in alignment with who he is and his very nature and how he has created us to be, and in doing that and thinking through what God has revealed to himself through the word, actually reminds me that, like, I am naturally bent to go. C.S. Lewis talks about this, that the bent ones, that I am bent to conform to the world. in a number of different capacities. And so it's actually just really helpful and healthy, I know at least for me, to sit under the preached word on Sunday mornings. And I really appreciate the time and effort you put into to your preparation. But yeah, just want to encourage our members to think, whatever it looks like, whatever capacity of time and energy you have, it is not a waste of time to sit under the Word of God, that we might be transformed into His image, as opposed to being conformed to the image of the world.
Yeah.
We talk about, give me your feedback from Sunday. So this recording is just a couple days after our kind of annual fall lunch.
Our fall lunch was terrific. I loved every second of it. Just to get for me. Well, yeah. I mean, one, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but did we set the fire alarm off in the chapel with all the smoke that was going in there? It was pretty amazing. But first, huge shout out to Keely Coleman, Cheryl Boyd for all of their work in helping get that set up. Also, Drew Coleman, David Bancroft, and Patrick O'Connor. I think David Boyd was out. Huge shout out to those guys who are out grilling the hamburgers, cooking the tube steaks, also known as hot dogs. Just a wonderful time, just seeing so many that were here for worship stuck around, that were able to, and just sitting around tables and just talking, and little kids running around, some tackling each other, which is exciting. No one was hurt, I believe, but no, it was just good. It's just good. It was good for me just because I'm able to talk to 3-4 people on a regular Sunday after the service, and I got to speak to so many folks within the church just as they were standing in line, and just catching up, saying hi, and seeing how things were going in life just briefly. And it just it's just joy to my heart to be able to just slow down and just be all together. And I don't know could we do that more?
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe without the tube steak. Let's. What do you think?
Let's get to. I want to excitedly share with the congregation.
Was that a setup or what? Wow.
That was a great setup. It's almost like you planned that.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
That there will be more connection opportunities, but yeah, in light of that, just the conversations that were had. I know you at one point you noted that there were a couple of older folks in our congregation that were sitting at a table, and suddenly, they struck up a conversation with a married couple. Next thing we know, we see people like that had just met or just really had their first conversation together, members of our church, but like arm in arm, hugging each other and joyfully walking together. I also think, in light of
just want to note that Drew said they were older people and not Greg. Just putting that out there, just so if any of them happen to be listening, that was not me.
I didn't say names, so we have no idea who I'm talking about. But also, just in light of a difficult week in our nation with lots of tragedy and hardships, it was so refreshing to actually just allow and just see organically people just talk and be together and walk out, frankly, in my opinion, overall very encouraged. I've heard that multiple times. People just feeling known, feeling loved by being in community with their church family, right?
Yeah.
Hearing the word preached, worshiping our God together in service, and then immediately kind of being able to just debrief and process and talk about life and laugh together and all the things you said. And so, one of our desires at Willow Creek would be that we deepen not only intellectually and theologically in our understanding and love of God, but we'd also deepen relationally with one another. And so just a snapshot, this past Sunday was our annual fall kickoff. We had food and there were tables and chairs set out. Well, we are actually, through a rental situation, we will actually have tables and chairs set out every second Sunday here forward. And so we are going to begin highlighting and promoting what we're calling Second Sunday Connect. And the goal, like the name implies, is that every second Sunday, the tables and chairs, the doors of the gym, frankly, the doors of the campus to a degree will just be open. And the encouragement would be that our Willow Creekers, those of you listening and friends and neighbors and whatnot, would gather together after church socially and just hang out. The church is we're a people, right? We've talked about this before. It's not a building, but to view the wonderful building that God has blessed us with as a second home, as a place to relax and enjoy and connect with others, deepen your relationship with others, slow down and just enjoy time together. So every second Sunday, we're going to have the gym open. We're going to have some paper goods, a couple of basketballs thrown out in the gym, and it's going to be very casual. This is not a big event. This is not we're cooking food for hundreds of people. This would be a bring your own, or just if you have kids, for example, or grandkids, come in the gym, maybe talk, hang out, let the kids burn some energy off for half an hour, and then go about your day. But we really want to encourage deeper relationships. We want to encourage community to be built. This was a great opportunity, for example, for some small groups to kind of gather and reconnect with one another, and even introduce others that are not a part of your small group. I've heard over the years, I sit by so and so, and I say hi and bye, but I don't really know them. Well, hey, every second Sunday, make it a point. Let's sit together.
Publix sells boxes of 8-piece fried chicken.
Perfect.
So just pick one up for yourself. Go on Saturday, pick one up, bring it, and then you got enough fried chicken for maybe 2, possibly 3. You can stretch it in before.
Yeah, don't share. There's certain elders in our church, I'd say, like, just to keep it from them. But yeah, I mean the general.
Okay, now I need names, but yeah, just to be clear, like second Sunday is not the second of them; it's the second Sunday of so the Sunday after communion, because we always have communion on the first Sunday of the month. So that's the second Sunday, and it'll just be set up. But there's no food provided. It's very low key. You can bring your own food if you want, but it really just a chance to connect with people for as little or as long as they want after the service. I think the cafe will still be open. We know it gets quite crowded and hectic in there, and we've got an amazing cafe team that serves in there every week. And this is just kind of an extension of the cafe, if you will, with some more room
to connect with some of our elders. We're going to have specific elders. I hope many times the majority of our elders and deacons and staff will be present, but every second Sunday we will have some elders available, just because that's their role. They want to know you. They want to hear what's going on in your life, to encourage you, to spend time with you. And so those of you in the past who've said, hey, I don't really know who my elders are, I don't know who to talk to about various things, like, again, this is just one more opportunity in which you can organically and just relationally connect with those in the church.
Yeah, awesome. That's wonderful. We've got a women's retreat that's coming up, I think. I think registration for that's all closed up at this point just because of the hotel and stuff. But that's coming up, I think, in October, first weekend in October. We've got a men's dinner. 16th. Awesome. And then last thing, just to kind of highlight and let folks to be aware of, like as we were talking earlier, like we're going to bring this full circle. It's false fall, which means that almost winter is on the way, and almost winter means it's almost Christmas.
What?
So I mean, we're here in September. Halloween is the end of next month, and then Thanksgiving is a few weeks after that, and then the week after Thanksgiving we start Advent. And so I just would love to just encourage our tens of listeners to just be praying over the next 6-8 weeks. Who could you invite? We're going to look at we're going generic this year. We're just calling it Christmas at Willow. we're going to look at Jesus. We're going to talk about Jesus. We're going to think about the great story that you are actually already alluded to of creation, fall, redemption, consummation, and how the Christmas story fits into the great story that Jesus doesn't just show up at Christmas. He was there at the beginning in Genesis 1, and he is there at the end. He is the beginning and the end, and that great big story is the story of the Bible. And so that's the beginning of. I haven't fully fleshed it all out yet, but just invite folks, whether it's anytime during our Advent series or Christmas Eve, which will have our two services. Christmas this year is on a Thursday, I think. We should know that at least the week before, but it's sometime during the week, and we have our Christmas Eve services 3:00, 5:00, always well attended, family friendly, meaning it's okay if your kids make a little noise and that sort of thing. We want to engage with the kids, and we might even be talking about what makes a really good Christmas gift. I don't know if what does make a really good Christmas gift? So we'll think about that a little bit for Christmas Eve. But if you want to know what my really good Christmas gifts are, just reach out, and I'm happy to share my. Wow, that was quite the self-centered plug. I need to be transformed by the gospel over and over again. But yeah.
Yeah, well, as we wrap up another episode, I hope this has been encouraging to you. Finish that last rep on your workouts,
yes,
or your last dish that you're washing. Share this with somebody, especially somebody in the church. Really, Pastor Greg and I, as this has kind of evolved, we're going to have some guests, some different conversation pieces, but we just want this to be another way to bless you. If you're a friend or a member of Willow Creek Church, that you might be encouraged and kind of just in the loop and get a sense. We're obviously, this is very casual. We did not do a bunch of preparation in advance. You're getting us as we are, but hopefully give you some things to think through and action steps to take. So thank you for listening with us. We'll be back. TBD.
Yeah, we'll be back sometime. Take care, everybody.